Welcome back to the CryptoLabs YouTube channel. We got Colin Mason for the insiders here in the UIG. If you are in the UIG, do let us know if you know all about the Mason token. It's a bit of an inside joke. But
It's coming.
anyways, Colin here, project and community manager. Colin does so much stuff behind the scenes, and he should get 90% of the credit because the community wouldn't run without Colin. And Colin, you probably have 50 to 100 conversations a day. And let me know if I'm exaggerating that, but there is a lot of stuff that happens in the UIG. And during volatile markets, we get super active, whether the markets are going down fast or up fast, we get super active, just kind of helping members stay calm, remain composed, and see the opportunity where others don't, which is what makes, I think, our members such great investors. So I wanted to bring you on to chat about it. And I want to remind everyone watching that even in the most bullish markets, you can see 20, 30% pullbacks. It doesn't last forever. And I think that shakes a lot of people out because they get freaked out, they get emotional, or they're like, oh my God, everyone's about to die, and they leave. And there are like we buy them up. And so when markets are volatile, Colin, and you see sort of people getting a little emotional or antsy, what framework or what do you work them through to keep them professional investors rather than amateurs?
It's a great question. Yeah, and I don't think 100 conversations hits it. Actually, I have quite a few more, I think.
Probably more.
But yeah, Lucas, it is something that we talk about a lot because crypto moves quickly. It moves quick to the upside, but it also does have its pullbacks. And so one of the biggest things that we talk about is just having a long-term vision. And then the golden rule is just make sure that you're investing in assets that you care about and that you would want to hold long-term. I'm sure we could do a whole another video on that. But today, I just wanted to kind of show a framework that we created, which is called Don't Panic If. Don't panic if. And the reason, yeah, let's dive into it. I'll actually just share my screen, Lucas. It's all right.
Bring it up.
And I'll kind of give an example too.
Yeah, we have so many frameworks in the UIG. Like, I like frameworks because every time it can help you through something. So like a framework for entering a liquidity pool, a framework for exiting, a framework for taking profit. We have a 10% rule, a framework for when markets are volatile. It's almost like blueprints for whatever the market may throw at us. We have a plan.
Absolutely. And the market will throw stuff at you. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, right? And so we have this framework because I work with a lot of members in the community, which is great. But sometimes they'll be in a liquidity pool. They'll enter with $1,000 into a liquidity pool. And understand here is a little lesson for you that the pool is consisted of the underlying assets. And so if you get inside of a pool with Solana and USDC and you put $1,000 in that pool, understand fundamentally that underneath it is the two assets, Solana and USDC. And so if the price of those assets, and you could interchange whatever asset you want to use in this example, but if the price moves up of those underlying assets, well, the dollar value of your pool is also going to go up. But same thing, and you can cheer and be excited, and we try not to do that. But if the price now pulls back, if you're in a Solana and USDC and that price pulls back a little bit, the $1,000 $1,000 US dollar total is actually going to drop as well because it totally is dependent on the underlying assets. And so, Lucas, what we have is a framework that we can come to that it will just educate. I guess the intention is to educate of like, okay, what's happening in my pool, right? My pool, the value has gone down, or I'm out of range. Like the green box that I'm in here, I'll show you an example. The green box that I'm in is now red and I'm out of range, meaning that price is outside of the predetermined range that I've set. Well, what do I do, right? And so this framework is something that we've put together to just educate, hey, what's exactly going on in this pool? What does it mean to be out of range? What does it mean when the value has gone down? Or what does it mean when the volume has dropped, meaning the amount of swaps in that pool has gone down, the overall volume, which means you'll earn less in rewards. Well, what does that actually mean? And once you get educated and understand exactly what's happening behind the scenes, it'll relieve that emotional reaction because you can understand, okay, I didn't lose that money. The price of Solana has gone down.
Or I think people are
has gone down. Lucas?
Still affected by, oh my, waking up and checking some kind of ROI Dapps scamming project. I literally just got a message from a friend and they invested in some project and their money is gone. And I'm like, what are you doing investing in this stuff? I forgot people still do it. And so I think people are still like getting, they're getting fearful from it. But I'm like, the things we invest in, the chances of you losing your money are slim to none if you follow our frameworks. Now, your value can fluctuate a little bit, but he ain't going to zero because we're not investing in dumb things. They have value. And so, Colin, so if a pool goes out of range, because there's really just a
Yep.
few things that can happen. If a pool goes out of range, what would you tell someone who's panicking about that?
Absolutely. Well, one thing I want to talk about before we go to range, I think a lot of the work that we do in the UIG is done prior to entry, and I have to mention
100%.
that because if we just are getting into these pools willy nilly, just randomly throwing a range in here and just being, oh, I'm just going to get in at this price, and there's no strategy behind it upon entry, that's where we spend the most time on in the UIG. So
90% of the work.
I have to mention that. I'll
90%.
give you a good example that's been working out for me in the last 6 or 7 weeks is this Neon USDC. Not financial advice, it's just an example here, okay? I did a lot of work up front of doing technical analysis and looking at where is the support been on this asset, meaning where is that price bouncing off of? And I found it to be around $1.30 when I was doing my analysis. And so again, a lot of work up front to set the range ahead of time. So I didn't just throw it together. I made that assessment.
And we
And
have a
Lucas,
team too. Like
oh
David and
yeah,
Maddie are
oh brilliant,
brilliant at technical
brilliant.
analysis, and they help us a lot set ranges. They're full time with us, so you get support, and I use them for my technical analysis a lot
Oh,
too.
me too. Me too. Of course. A lot of it's to check is my thinking on point
Yeah.
here, and they're usually like absolutely. But I'll give you an example, Lucas. Right? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or it was actually Tuesday because I went live about it. Is the price of Neon actually went below my price, and so I stopped. Two things have happened. I'll kind of go back to the framework here.
Yep.
When you go out of range, two things happen. Number one is you stop earning fees, right? Because the only time we're earning fees is when the price is in between the range that we set. So
Yep.
when this price went below $1.32, I stopped earning fees. Not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. And then number two is that you get fully converted into the depreciating asset. So in this example, I got fully converted into Neon. Now, to go back to the golden rule, Lucas, and I don't want to go on a tangent about this, but I like Neon personally. I've done my research on it. I think it's a solid asset upon entry. And so when that price dropped below $1.30, I didn't panic. I was like, I like this asset. I have a feeling it's going to come back up at some point.
And
And I
beyond a
watched the
feeling, you've done a lot
charts.
of work on it.
I've
Yep.
done a lot of work. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyways, so I went live in the community. I talked about this and I shared that framework and I said, I'm not panicking. And this is the reason. The reason is because of all of this stuff. I
Yep.
understand what's happening behind the scenes. I know fundamentally and mechanically what's happening when I'm out of range. So I'm not panicking. I'm not trying to withdraw everything fast because there's no need to. And
Look at
Lucas,
that too.
less
Hey, $166 on your 1,500. That's a 10%. What's that
for a
over?
week,
Probably a week.
a week.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
A
crazy.
week.
We've had
Yep.
clients ROI on some positions in 30 days. That's called the velocity of money. Is you
Yes.
put, let's say, $1,500 in, you get your $1,500 out, then you go use that $1,500 on something else, yet you still command control of your $1,500 position of Neon USDC. That is compound interest on compound interest on compound interest, and people are missing it. They're like, well, if I only have 1,000, can I make progress? I'm like, well, here's some proof that one small little position Colin has of 1,500, he will earn 1,500 back fairly quickly, and now he's got 3,000. Like, you can get it working for you so damn quick. So that's pretty cool to
Yeah.
see too. A
Yeah,
smaller amount.
absolutely. And what gets really exciting too is that I take this USDC and I buy render with it as an
Yep.
example. And now I'm stacking Neon and render on a
Yep.
weekly basis into my bull run bag, which in my opinion, both are going to
Yeah, you're an
appreciate
AI
in the
guy.
coming year. I am. I really like it. So
So
anyways,
good.
yeah, I'm just really
So
excited,
good.
passionate about this stuff. But yeah, just to summarize my thought here is that when that price goes out of range, I stop earning fees, I get fully converted into Neon. But within a few hours, Lucas, the thing came right back up into my range. So I didn't panic. I didn't exit. I didn't run for the hills. I maintained the course. I said, I'm going to give this 48 hours. So we have a 48-hour rule. I let it come back in within 3 or 4 hours. The thing was back inside my range, earning fees again. And I didn't have to lock in a permanent loss. I didn't have to go change or rebalance
Yep.
or snuggle rebalance, nothing. I just
So
waited
good.
patiently and now I'm back in earning those fees again. So that's
If
what
you're
we do in
watching,
the
I
UIG.
think that the feedback here is honestly 90% of the work. We probably do 20 or 30 hours a week of research for our reports, where all of the work is done up front. Before you enter a position, you do the work up front so you feel confident when you enter it. You're holding assets the underlying assets you believe in, you'd hold long term. And if you go in a range, we've got a few different frameworks, 48-hour rule. And I mean, there's some snuggling in that. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but fundamentally, don't panic, because if you start rebalancing too quick and making emotional decisions and selling, you're locking in losses. And I'd say most of the time, every position I've been in that goes out of range on the downside, because I understand the underlying value in the assets, it goes back into range because money comes into that asset because there's actual value in it. So just don't panic. I see a lot of that. That separates the amateurs from professionals. That separates those who see losses at the end of the year overall versus those who see double, triple their portfolio. And it's not that difficult if you remain level-headed.
Absolutely. And I think I don't want to, I will brag. Actually, I'll brag about our community because I'm just really impressed because whenever
Yeah.
someone is like, oh my God, I'm out of range, it's like, all good. What's happening?
Yeah.
Do you understand what's happening? What's your range? What's the, what do you see? Do you like the asset? Do you want to hold it? I'm really impressed with the level of questions, but then the level of support and the answers and the wisdom that our community spreads. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So I will brag about them.
Dude, I talk about it all the time. They're like, "Oh man, sometimes you try to sell your thing too much." I'm like, honestly, your little $97 is not going to change my world. That's not what motivates me. What motivates me is the transformation of what we see in that community and the level of investor that people turn into. So I will sell it and talk about it till the day I die at the top of my lungs because I know what we built is the best. But ultimately, the market decides. But there's a reason why we've been growing so fast and have attracted so many members, get so many referrals, and we just keep growing. And we've also assembled a wicked team. Troong's just joined us.
Yes.
If someone is in the UIG, say hi to Troong because he is now a full-fledged team member, which is super cool. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. If anyone has any questions, do leave them in the comments. We're happy to create content around your questions, so please leave it in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel. As always, if you liked this video, you probably wouldn't be watching it if you didn't. And we will leave some other videos up here for you. Keep going down the rabbit hole. Watch some more videos on this channel. Hang out for an hour or two. You will get a first-class education on DeFi. We don't BS on this channel. We show you what we're doing and we show you frameworks on what actually works. So do check it out.